Is Barry Tramel there?
He absolutely is.
Oh, the columnist for the Oklahoman. He joins us now. Barry, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm a little on the tired side, but that's all right.
All right. What did you see last night? How do you explain coming back from 25 down?
Oh, I think the Thunder got their pride wounded a little bit because they'd played so poorly in Salt Lake and then played so poorly for 28 minutes last night that a lot of people were questioning, all kinds of things, including their character. And I think they realized it, and they sort of woke up, and, they got some help. I mean, Rudy Gobert gets in foul trouble. Yeah. Utah's a different team. But they started playing with desperation, and that's what you got to do in the playoffs. Helps if you start that way in the first quarter. But they did it in the third quarter last night.
How frustrating is this team to watch?
Pretty frustrating because you saw how good they can be.
Yeah.
But you've also seen them just sort of go up and down all year, lose a bunch of games, lost 2 to Dallas, lose to the Nets, just endless games like that. But, you've also seen them take it to the Warriors, take it to the Rockets, take it to the Raptors. And last night they took it to the Jazz when their season was on the brink.
Did you have a column written at halftime, Barry?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was deciding between two terms. They were doornail dead. That's an old term from my childhood. I don't know where it came from, but also I was going to quote The Wizard of Oz. They weren't just merely dead. They were really sincerely dead. But, I had to throw all that away about the time Westbrook scored, I think it's 20 points in the third quarter. So, had to start over.
If the Thunder don't advance, ...
A lot of questions. I think Billy Donovan's future's up in the air. I think the Thunder likes him, but they would sacrifice him if they had to. If they don't advance, it's more likely than ever that Paul George leaves. Now, frankly, he may be out the door anyway. But it's, the way they were playing up until that third quarter last night, they were giving Paul George no reason to stay. For most of this year, you could say, his best basketball option might be to, unless he just wants to go join a super team, might be to stay in Oklahoma City and play with Steven Adams and Russell Westbrook. There was not much of a case for that until last night in these playoffs.
What about Carmelo's future?
Carmelo is a shell of himself. We've had a debate this week on whether his decline was gradual, and we just playing in New York, nobody ever watched him play, which is sort of funny to say, but or did he just fall off the cliff this off season? He really doesn't have much left in terms of explosion or athletic ability. He's not an $8 million a year player, much less a $28 million a year player. So, best thing for the Thunder is if he would decline his option. I assume his accountant is not going to let him do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know we don't know what's going to happen, but the best thing for the Thunder is if he decided he wanted to go play somewhere else.
He's Barry Tramel, the columnist for the Oklahoman, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. I know you've written about Baker Mayfield, good and bad. If a team went to you and said, what do you think of Baker Mayfield, what would you tell that NFL team?
I would say, football-wise, you guys know a lot more about it than I do, but if you think a 6-foot quarterback can survive, well, then let me promise you, he will. He's an uncanny passer, just unbelievable accuracy. He's a gamer. He's a fabulous quarterback. But there's stuff you're going to have to live with off the field. He wants to be a celebrity. There's not any question about that. He does not want to be Eli Manning. He wants to be Joe Namath. So as long as you go into that with your eyes wide open, you're going to be okay. But if you think you're getting Eli Manning, you're going to be sadly mistaken.
If you were the Cleveland Browns, would you take him?
If I was the Cleveland Browns, I wouldn't take any quarterback.
Okay.
I mean, the NFL is just rife with quarterback mistakes. If you got a bad roster, heck, if you got a good roster, I'd take somebody high that I knew could play. I wouldn't take a gamble on anybody. And it sounds like all of these guys have a little bit of mystery about them. I wouldn't take a 1 or 4 on a guy I wasn't completely sure could play.
Barry, thank you. Get some sleep and, have fun with this next game here.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right, that's Barry Tramel, columnist for the Oklahoman.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.